Good afternoon, everyone, and a very happy Independence Day. I welcome you all to today's webinar. Let's begin the session with a brief introduction about our organization, Organogenic. Organogenic is an agri-biotech startup founded by Dr. Shamini, based in Chennai and incubated in Byrax Bioness Golden Jubilee Biotech Park for Women. Our innovative products are aimed at solving real-life problems in the agribusiness and improving its quality and sustainability. We are a team of creative and enthusiastic early professionals with a high moral to bring great changes and impact to our agricultural land. I now welcome our honorable guest, Dr. Krishna Rao, working as research officer in CCRAS-MINISTRY of AYUSH. He is a former assistant professor in Department of General Medicine in Pankaja Kasturi Ayurveda Medical College, Kerala. He has research experience at various peripheral institutes of CCRAS. Our guest is associated with 12 projects having various publications of AYUSH. He has investigated many Ayurvedic tools in skin diseases, fever, IBS, etc. He is an undergraduate topper and recipient of Jivaka Award of Excellence. If the participants have any queries to our guests during the session, kindly post them in the chat box. Without further delay, I request Dr. Krishna Rao to take over the session.
Thank you so much. Gurubhyo Namaha. Good afternoon, one and all, and very happy Independence Day to all. First of all, at the outset, let me express my regards and gratitude to the Organogenic Biotech Private Limited and especially Dr. Shamini for giving me such a wonderful stage to interact with all regarding the topic relevance of Ayurveda in the pandemic times. And before going to my topic, as the audience is very heterogeneous one, I'll just brief the background on this. We all know that we are living in the 21st century where we are pampered with all the luxuries and comforts of industrialization. And along with that, we have several outbreaks of pandemics like H1N1, Ebola, SARS, MERS, and now since December 2019, we have been facing the fury of COVID-19. And every time a pandemic comes, we survive, somehow we survive. Somebody will survive with little problems, some succumb to death. And each and every time, one single question that pops out is there any vaccine available? Or is there any antivirals available? So every time, unfortunately, the answer is a big no, most probably. So we have to fight it out with what we have it in us. So we can't blame anybody for this also. We have to take it upon us itself. On the other hand, we have systems like Ayurveda, which is old since 5,000 years old and traditional systems. It's not only a medical system, but teaches us how to live a healthy life, how to live a good life without harming anybody, how to be a model, how to prevent yourself. And in Samhidas like Charaka Samhita, there are beautiful explanations of pandemics. That is in a context called Janapada Dvamsa. Acharyas has explained various causes of vitiation of air, water, land, and time, which can lead to pandemics, and the possible preventive measures also, which is relevant even in this present scenario. So once again, welcome you all to my presentation with this brief background, and I will take you to my presentation with a small story to just freshen it up of a farmer. He actually lived, there lived a farmer in the hills, and the peculiarity of that hill is that it has on and off winds, heavy winds. So whatever he cultivates, he used to lose a big portion of it into the storms, and he was very worried about that. Though he was very hardworking, he used to lose his crops due to that. And he, due to the rough terrain and the climatic conditions, he also don't have anybody for his support. But his life was going on like that. Every time storm comes, he has big losses in different modes, financial loss as well as his crops gets disturbed. And one fine morning, he came across a old lean man who came to him and offered that I am ready to help you. Then seeing that the farmer was a bit astonished until how this man is going to help me, but still there is at least it is better to have someone. He agreed, and he took him with him, and they both started working together. And while they started cultivating and growing the crops, the farmer tried to educate the old man that the very important thing, whenever a storm comes, you should be on your toes. You should be ready. You should run, save your crops, protect them, lock them, and seal them so that you should not lose any crops anymore. But to his surprise, the old man said that when the storm comes, I'll be sleeping. Hearing this, the farmer was little bit astonished and he was very angry also. But what to do? He was the only helper. He let him go with him. And then one day, the farmer sensed that there is something going to happen and there is a storm in the making. So he suddenly rushed all the way. He came running to the old man and informed him, "Come, come, come, let's go and protect our farm." So, as usual, the man replied, "Sorry, I already informed you that I'll be sleeping now." So, hearing this, the farmer was pretty annoyed. He then ran to his field, and to his surprise, what was in stock for him was every crop was properly protected. Those on the fields were given enough support, enough crops. Those harvested crops were bundled, kept locked, sealed to prevent any damage. Seeing this, then the farmer realized that it is not during the time of the crisis that we should be prepared. We should be prepared for the crisis. So, friends, like the farmer, we all are like the farmer, right? So we will be thinking of the next thing to happen. Every in this decade, in this century, that like I previously mentioned, there has been different pandemics. Every time we survive it somehow, and we don't care about the future. That's what has put us into this serious trouble now, and that's where the relevance of Ayurveda comes also. So moving forward, I'll be taking you through these things in my presentation. That is, what is health, how Ayurveda approaches health, how to live a healthy life, and how can I prevent myself from COVID and other diseases. You take the COVID as an example from any other diseases. Let it be like that. How to regain health even if I am affected with COVID and other diseases. So this, you all know, this is the famous epidemiological triad. Any disease can be correlated with respect to these three factors: the agent, the host, and the environment. And the agent and the environment being the common or the neutral for both, it becomes a direct tussle between the agent and the host. That's where the host factor becomes more so crucial. And every system focuses on this host factor for dealing with the crisis like the pandemics. And more so in Ayurveda, if you see, the host factors are taken care in different domains. And the most important all among the all determinants of the host factors, the ahara, that is the diet of the patient, the vihara, the various activities, the vichara, the various thought process or the psychological aspects of the patient, are the major host determinants. And how they become determinants is based on how the host goes about it. That is, if he do something in a hina yoga, that is inadequate, ati yoga, that is excess, or mithya yoga, that is inappropriate to a particular quantity or time or whatever it may be, not in the correct manner. And the samyak yoga, that is a perfect combination of the perfect time or the perfect dose of doing something. For example, if you sleep less, that is hina yoga. Sleep too much, that is ati yoga. And sleeping at inappropriate time, it is a mithya yoga. And samyak yoga is the proper timely or dose, whatever it may be. And these three things, that is hina yoga, ati yoga, and mithya yoga, the inappropriate thing, are the reasons for disease. And this one, the right combination, the samyak yoga, is the reason for all health, maintenance of health. Then, Ayurveda, as I said before, has two different domains. That is, the primary domain is health maintenance. That is swasthya rakshana, protection of the health of a healthy individual. And as far as Ayurveda is concerned, health is something more of a dynamic phenomenon rather than a word called homeostasis, because every time the health of a person keeps on changing. If, for example, I am healthy now, that doesn't mean at night I will be healthy. It depends on so many factors. So health is a dynamic phenomenon. Health is to be understood as a dynamic phenomenon, and it is to be continuously followed for its maintenance. And disease management, as you know, is a temporary thing. You have to do when you come across a disease or particular illness or something, then only you go for the disease management. So otherwise, the whole focus of Ayurveda is predominantly on health maintenance. Then ahara. Every system considers ahara or the food as the main source of what you can call as a medicine or a cause of health or whatever it may be. So that determines, according to Ayurveda, Acharya Kashyapa has told that ahara is the Mahavaishya, that is the best or the biggest medicine. And Hippocrates also rightly quoted the same: let food be thy medicine. So food is the determinant of health. Food is the determinant of disease also. So the determinants, what are all the depending factors on the food are, that is the time when you take, that is if you take it at a wrong time, it can cause disease. Then what you take, that is if you take an inappropriate thing, that is ahidahara, that is which is not wholesome for you, that can lead to disease, and in an inappropriate quantity. These three things are very, very crucial as far as this food is concerned. That is when you take, what you take, and how much you take. These three are the very, very, very crucial factors. And if somebody asks me what is the right food for me, then I will tell, consider your place where you are, consider the season where you are in, and follow the traditional food pattern. That is, if you are stationed at a particular place, born and brought up in that particular place, then it's very simple. Follow the food pattern that your ancestors follow. Our Indian traditional foods are very, very, very much high in maintaining health and providing immunity to you too. So the primary focus should be on your food that you take, that can lead to health as well as disease. Then the Agni, or in other sense the digestive fire, it is the reason for health as well as the reason for disease. And the maintenance of digestive system maintains your innate strength. Okay, so when you maintain your digestive system properly, maintain means when you intake something, it should be properly digested in the proper time, in the proper manner, without any problem, and it should be metabolized properly. And if you maintain your Agni, you can digest anything, you can resist diseases and all. And maintenance of your digestive system is very much key, as gut microbiome maintenance is very much linked to your health, even in COVID like situations also. So here you can see one paper, that is a role of gut microbiota in COVID like scenario. And this is a PubMed Index paper, and here you can see the improving the gut microbiota profile by personalized nutrition and supplementation. That is, Ayurveda is a system that always focus on personalized medication, personalized food, personalized exercises, whatever it may be. So gut microbiota and personalized nutrition, these two has a good relation with COVID-19 possibility. So maintain that properly. Then how you know that your digestive system is properly maintained? That you know from these particular symptoms. For example, if you have a good eructation or a good enthusiasm level or proper bowel movement or lightness of your body and appearance of thirst and appetite at the right time, then you can infer that your digestive system is working properly. You don't need any what you call high level, high end knowledge to decode that. When you get up in the morning, you ask yourself, am I healthy? Am I energetic? Is my bowel movement clear? Am I feeling light? Then your system is proper. So once your system is proper, you can take the ideal food that will be ideally metabolized in different manner that provides health. Then another thing, the two domains dealt with your food, that is the ahara. Then now we will deal with your activities, that is the viharas. In that, the primary focus is on the dinacharya, that is the daily regimens. The daily regimens comes in two or three different can be classified or sub-classified under 2-3 domains. That is, one, it deals with the cleanliness of an individual in a general perspective. That includes bathing, your general massage techniques, then your general trimming of your nails, etc., etc., and all those prophylactic infection prophylactic measures. That is, when you go out, you should do this. Before entering your house, you should wash your feet, etc., etc. All those general preventive measures. And the secondary, that is the most important thing, especially in pandemics, that is cleanliness or hygiene of the entry portals, that is eyes, nose, ears, and mouth, which forms the four major entry portals of any causative organism. So in eyes, you can Ayurveda advises collyrium or anjanas. In the nasal route, different types of nasyas are there. In ear, there is karnapurana, and in the oral cavity, there is techniques like oil pulling that you can call as kavala or gandusha. Then other things related to activities, exercise. Daily exercise is advised, and exercise is also not fixed. Ayurveda advises to do exercises in Artha Shakti, that is till your half strength. That can be identified by till you get sweat on your forearm or your axilla. That is your limit for exercise, and that is also that is not an absolute constant. It is also personalized. It might be different for me. It might be different for you. So next is sleep, and the sleep, how much you sleep, when to sleep, etc., etc., timely sleep, all these things. So the basic three domains are cleanliness, general as well as cleanliness of the entry portals, then the exercise, then sleep. These three parameters are covered under these three major parameters are covered under Dinacharya. And the most important one more thing is how you spend your day. That is also very much important, because nowadays many of the people are suffering from many psychiatric issues or mental depressions, anxieties due to this lockdown or a lot of financial crisis that they have during the pandemic times. So Ayurveda advises the best way to spend your time in the evenings is to spend with your beloved ones. Spend time with your family, spend time with your daughter, son, or even the grandparents. That will help you relax things. So the daily regimens comes under the Dinacharya. Then the seasonal regimens. Seasonal regimens are those regimens that should be followed based on the seasons. And what is the difference between Ritucharya and the Ritucharya is the basis. And based on the Ritu, you have to modify your daily regimens also, because this one Ritucharya of the seasonal regimens is there to be followed for 3 to 4 months, especially in the north. In the south, in Kerala and Tamil Nadu, we have only two or maximum three climates. That is hot, very summer is there, rainy season is there, and mild, hot, humid conditions are there. So, especially in the north, we need to stick on to this daily seasonal regimens that for 3 to 4 months, and that primarily focuses on your diet. That is changes as per the seasons, and there to follow the tradition. That is the ideal thing. Then what you wear, respect the season, respect the climate. So you dress accordingly. In the summer, you prefer cotton clothes. Winter, you prefer woolen clothes. That are all advised in Ayurveda. So we have to be flexible. We have to be adaptable. And regarding the activities I have told, Ayurveda advises to do exercise regularly, but that regularity also varies as per the season, because in the summer you get exhausted soon, so your half strength or artha shakti will be different, and in the winter naturally the body will be more powerful that in summer, so you can perform more time. So accordingly you adjust all your activities. So the diet, the dressing, and the activities, this to be followed for a longer duration, and that should be modified as per the Ruducharya. Then, this is a paper that highlights the possible link between the role of nutrition and daily lifestyle. And you all know that NCDs are the major risk factors associated with COVID-19 like pandemic. So, we all should be beware of that. We should not allow any NCDs, new NCDs to creep up, or NCDs to complicate the issues if there is a possibility of COVID-19 infection, or otherwise also. If not also, after the pandemic, you should be healthy. So the lifestyle and the nutrition has also a potential link with COVID-19. Then this is also a similar article around about the long-term impact of the NCD and the population of the Europe. And these you can see that the article discusses how the COVID-19 outbreak related to infection control measures could hit most frail individuals and worsening the conditions of NCD. So whether it is COVID or not, we should follow our daily regimen. We should follow our seasonal regimens within the limits of our social distancing norms and the restriction imposed by the government. Next, one important thing highlighted by Ayurveda is regarding the natural urges. Ayurveda advocates that Vegana Dhare, that is, never ever suppress your natural urges, because I don't think that many system has focused on this. Ayurveda primarily focus this issue as a causative factor of many diseases, because these are either the physiological needs of your body and mind, or bodies reflex against foreign bodies, or body's way of self-defense to eliminate the unwanted things from your body. So once you go against your body, these are body's demands, general simple demands that happens daily. If you go against your body, then the body will start going against you. Then if you respect, you should respect your natural urges, because this is not a local phenomenon. If you feel the sensation of urination, that it does not limit your problems to your urinary bladder. It has to come from your brain. If you have appetite, same issue. So it is not a normal a local phenomenon, and it disturbs the harmony in the entire nervous system. So it disturbs the rhythm. Once you try to suppress your urge, then you have all kinds of disturbances inside your body, because you or we are going against your biological forces. So you should not go do that. It can cause serious local as well as systemic effects. Then as I told, if you go against the nature will definitely go against you. Just imagine a situation, you prevented some cough or cough or something with due to some unavoidable situation. If you do once, it's okay. If you try to what you say, suppress it more and more, it will try to come out from somewhere else. Similar to that picture you can see. So it manifests elsewhere. So it can be a causative factor of major diseases. And in Ayurveda, these suppression of natural urges are investigated as causative factors of hypersensitivity like urticaria, then autoimmune diseases and all. So these natural urges should never be suppressed. Then is the then coming to the concept of Vyadikshamata or immunity, which is probably the most googled or most patented or marketed term nowadays. As a person with good immunity power or Vyadikshamata can withstand anything, NCD or let it be an infection, they will better withstand this. And there are three types of bala or immunity which we can call it. That is the sahaja, that is the innate bala, the kalaja, that is acquired over a period of time, or the yuktikrita, that we develop with the help of rasanas or daily food patterns, and which is the strength should be coming from inside, and that is proportional to your strength, your digestive power, and the concept of ojas. Ojas is considered in Ayurveda as the essence of all the dhatus, and which is inherent and come from within through ahara, vihara, and vichara. And these three are always the determinant factors. And the maintenance of immunity is also a continuous process, just like health. And that is acquired through daily as well as seasonal regimens. And never ever expect somebody else to fill your pocket with immunity. It's you who have to develop that. Next, respect your age. Generally, the population is classified into three, that is the young age, middle aged, and the old age. And the young age, due to the incomplete tissue formation, they are susceptible group, as well, and the old age, due to the degenerative phase, they are also susceptible to most of the infections. And the present as well as the infections to come, they are more susceptible than the middle aged population. So the advantages of middle age group, including me, is that we are less susceptible to disease, less susceptible to other NCDs also, but we are the potential carriers or potential carriers for diseases like COVID to the younger generation and the older generation. And we have the responsibility to be a healthier older generation, like not to be succumb to the NCDs and all. And the age factor is also one of the assessment factor for dose determination, as well as determination of degree of exercises, degree of what all medicines, what all food you can take also. So always consider your age and time zones also. Next is a pandemic situation. Then coming to the present pandemic situation, Ayurveda, as I told, does not focus on a particular thing. Ayurveda focus the whole background rather than investigating the particular scenario. When you consider a pandemic or any situation, you have to understand the background of that. So while considering a pandemic, we have to consider the already existing ones. That is the already existing pandemics like H1N1 and the risk factors like NCDs, along with the present COVID-19, as well as the future pandemics to happen. So these three things to be kept in mind so as to deal a pandemic. Take this as a chance, because you never know. You may not get a second chance. You just imagine a COVID with a very high mortality rate. Then what will be the situation? Now, ideally, the mortality rate is less than 2 in India, and hopefully it will come down also. See, I would then like to draw your attention to two of the tweets of from one is from WHO and one is from CDC. Director says that there is more suicides and overdoses than COVID death, and this is regarding a vaccines. There are different vaccines in phase 3 trials, and however, there is no silver bullets at the moment, and there might never be. And these two are very serious things, because one CDC director is commenting that COVID-19 death ratio is less, so that's a good sign. And on the other side, there is a hint towards there might not be a vaccine for this. If yes, it's well and good. But remember one thing: whenever a pandemic comes, there is no ready-made vaccine for that. So you should always keep that in mind. Keeping these two things in mind, we will go forward to the AYUSH guidelines. Being faculty working in the AYUSH fraternity in Ayurveda, I am giving emphasis on the AYUSH guidelines. These AYUSH guidelines is proposed by the Ministry of AYUSH in discussion with 16 eminent Vaidyas across India, and they have postulated certain guidelines which are cheap, which are economic, which are practical, as well as scientific, which can be practiced across the globe. So that whole AYUSH guidelines, I have summarized it into 4 major categories. One, the measures of prevention at the portals of entry. That includes nasal application, oil pulling, steam inhalation, and the measures to prevent the mental stresses. That is the practice of yoga, pranayama, and meditation on all those good things. And measures to maintain the gut-lung axis homeostasis. That is by drinking warm water and the uses of spices in different forms in cooking, as well as herbal tea or healthy milk or home remedies for cough, etc. And immune modulatory measures. Next, coming to nasal application. As I have said before, this is one among the daily regimens advised by Ayurveda. It acts as a barrier at nasal portal entry. That is at the one of the primary portals of entry. There is a direct link between nose and the lungs. So that is very important. So it maintains the its mediums are oil. There is sesame oil, coconut oil, and ghee. They maintains the mucosal integrity and protects your mucosa from being damaged. And it can be possibly used as a portal, as a possible route of drug delivery also. So there are occasions that healthcare workers who are regularly exposed to COVID patients, they are using PPE kits and they are using repeated hygiene measures that can, and they are working in AC, sometimes air conditions also, that can seriously cause dryness to your nasal mucosa, and that can disintegrate or disrupt your mucosal integrity. So Regular applying of one or two times nasal application or smearing of oil can maintain the mucosal integrity as well as a barrier at the nasal root. So there is a study in consensus among Chinese experts. They have advised one of the measures is that the mucosal protection. They have proposed that as a measure and advised that using of moisturizers as recommended, especially for frontline healthcare workers. Then coming to the steam inhalation. In Ayurveda, we can correlate that to the Ushma Sveda. Normally, whenever you have a disease of the upper respiratory tract, like cough, cold, or some throat irritation and all, this is the basic thing that you all do across the globe, I'm sure. And this actually, as per Ayurveda, the Ushna Guna, that is a heat of the steam, is utilized for liquefaction of the accumulated kapha, we called it accumulation of the kapha, and thereby the congestion of the srotas or the obstructions in the srotas wherever it may be is relieved, and it clears the srotas, that is channels of circulation, and it dries up or removes the substratum on which the microorganisms can come and survive. So it basically cleans up your channels of circulation. So the clarity of channels of circulation is very, very, very important for any system to function normally. So that can be achieved by steam inhalation, and for that you can even use some drugs. The spices are handy with those having volatile oils. Then coming to oil pulling, like Nasya or nasal application, oil pulling is also one among the daily regimen which maintains the oral ecosystem. There are studies that say that there are millions of microorganisms in our body that are supporting us to maintain our health. So using oil pulling technique, we can maintain the oral ecosystem. And oral cavity being one of the portals of entry to the lung directly, there is a repeated exchange between the contents of the oral cavity as well as the lung. So it protects you from the oral infections as well as prevents secondary infections to the lungs. Then it can also be a possible mucosal drug delivery system. And studies are there saying in Ayurveda we use it for both local as well as systemic effect. And there is exclusive dedicated chapter in Ayurveda telling the various efficacies and various different types of fluids or applications that can be used inside the oral cavity for protection from daily problems as well as in diseases. So this is a study. Could there be a link between oral hygiene and severity of COVID? And this is very, very, very interesting and important because they have found that the risk factor do not account to 52% of death arising from COVID-19. That is, COVID is associated with 3-4 risk factors like age, gender, and comorbidities. That accounts for only 48%, and rest 52% do not have any disease. Those who die. So when they studied, they found a possible correlation between the oral bacterial load and post-viral complications. That means if you have a unhealthy oral cavity, it can increase your complications associated with COVID-19 also. And more so, in this paper, you can see that the comorbidities like diabetes, hypertension, obesity, and the CVD are usually associated with a weaker biofilm that makes you more prone to oral infections. So that becomes more contributory to complications in COVID-19. So oral health is maintained by this oil pulling, and this is also one paper regarding that. And this is a paper highlighting the importance of traditional oral health system. And you can see the comparison between the traditional mouthwashes and oil pulling. The pros and cons of two, you can see. If those who are interested can go and read that. Then coming to the factors dealing with the mental stresses, that is yoga, pranayama, and medication. Yoga, pranayama, and medication, as you all know, it has two domains of action. One is the physical domain, which focus on which helps physical domain, that is various stretchings and postures, which will help you improve your lung functions and maintain your mobility during the pandemic, right? Because most of us are in lockdown phase, some form of other lockdown. So you need to maintain your mobility, and mobility for maintaining mobility through yoga, you don't need many space. You can do it in a 6 feet space on a yoga mat. So you can start practicing that to maintain your mobility. And the other aspect that you all know, that mental stresses, they are positively linked with COVID-19. So it relieves stress as well as depression. So this is a paper that is highlighting the importance of medication and yoga practices as an adjuvant. And in some of the hospitals also, most of the patient under COVID care, they have been instructed to do various pranayamas and all to improve the lung functions. Then coming to the next is the use of spices. You see, these are the spices that are mentioned in AYUSH advocacies, and all of you will be using these in some form of other in cooking as well as many things. No? So Ayurveda and spices, what is the relation? And Ayurveda mentions spices in a ahara upayogi group, that is items that can be used as a food, and it is more so, it is a primary ingredient of medicines used for GI tract as well as respiratory tract. That is for GI as well as respiratory complaint. Most of the formulations have spices as the main ingredient in them. So the spices virtually acts on the gut-lung axis. It is practical as well as easy also to practice this. And as per the guidelines, you can use in the form of herbal tea, use it in food or whatever manner you may. Then this is a study regarding COVID-19 and the relation between gut-lung axis. So it is pretty clear that when there is a dysbiosis between the gut and lung, there is susceptibility as well as probable of more complications for COVID-19. So you have to maintain the lung as well as your gut. So these two are possible by the regular use of spices. And this is a very interesting study that clarifies that there is immune boosting spices in novel coronavirus. And this is a study that study done across 163 countries and across, focusing on the total cases, total death, and total recovery. And it has been found that from the graph, it is clear that the total cases and total deaths across 163 countries is less in high spice consuming nations, and the more importantly, in high spice intake nations, the total recovery rate is also very high. That highlights that is pretty clear and highlights the important and role of novel coronavirus in maintaining the gut lung integrity, or maintaining the symbiosis of the gut lung integrity, and its role in the current pandemic also. Then hot water. All of you know, when you go to an Ayurvedic practitioner, this will invariably be advised as one of your diet regulations, because hot water in Ayurveda is told as sadapatya, that is favorable in all conditions. Invariably, it can be used practically in all conditions, and it can be used regularly also, and it's highly customizable. If you go to the southern part, especially in Kerala, and even in hotels also, you may get water with some spices or something flavored things and all for drinking. Only in south they prefer hot water, and it has a similar impact like pasteurization. That is, by boiling water, you can kill all the microorganisms that is present in water, and that can possibly be a source of oral infections also, fecal-oral route of contamination also. And during the pandemics, you need not take any unnecessary risk, because previously in the relation with the oral cavity also, we found that bacterial infections or super infections can complicate cases of COVID-19. And WHO has also advised that if you drink water, it's not just hot water. It is boiling till roll boiling it is taught. That is, till it boils well, 100-degree boiling. Then it kills most of the microbes responsible for infection, and it can be, it has no direct implication with the current scenario. It can prevent the secondary infections. And then the role of Rasanas. Rasayanas, as you all know, Rasayanas has been one of the most decorated topic in Ayurveda, and it has been extensively studied for its benefits. And you see these things during the aging as well as in oxidative stress. In the pandemic times, you are under immense stress due to your financial crisis, maybe your business loss, maybe due to your lockdown and all. The oxidative stress is very high. And see what are all the impact that the whole thing can have cause you. And the Rasayanas, on the other hand, has the multiple domains of action. And in this regard, Ministry of Ayush has advised the use of Chavanprash. Why Chavanprash? Because Chavanprash is one of the most decorated Rasayana yoga, most easily available, and yoga that can be used by a normal individual also. And there are n number of rasayanas that basically, one more thing I want to highlight here is, in rasayana there are two types of rasayanas that can be used on a daily basis, as well as rasayanas that can be specifically used under restrictions. So Chavanprash is one of those type of rasayanas which has proven immunomodulator efficacy and specifically indicated in upper respiratory tract conditions and easily available also. That's why in the advocacy only Chavanprash is included. There are other rasayanas like ashwagandha and all that are used in daily course also. And there are disease specific things which only a practitioner can advise you, like Guduchi, Tinospora, Cardifolia, or Pipili. There are all potent rasayana drugs, or even til, sesame. There are also rasayana. They are used in different domains. Even if you want as a brain tonic, that is also, there are also rasayanas like Shankhapushpi and all. So that is a different thing. So rasayana, actually they aim in modulating your immune system to respond in a proper manner. So in a nutshell, I would like to conclude the AYUSH ministry guidelines like this. Some things like nasya, oil pulling, and inhalation procedures, they are barriers at the entry portals. Then the practice of yoga, pranayama, etc. are stress relievers, and the use of spices and hot water, they act on the gut lung axis, and the use of rasayanas like Chavanprash are immunomodulators. And ultimately, the net result is lesser chance of infection, faster recovery, and lesser convalescence. That does not mean, I does not anyway mean that it will cure COVID. Maybe it can be used in COVID and at different stages. That's a different thing, but it has the potential to deal with the three stages of these three things. Then other therapeutic interventions like dhubana, that is therapeutic fumigatory procedures, are also there in Ayurveda. That is, dhubana is therapeutic fumigation with medical drugs. It has also multi-dimensional action, like it is a potent antimicrobial form. They are stress relievers, because in dhubana or fumigation yogas, we use many drugs with good fragrance and all. You all know that a good fragrance is a good feeling, so that relieves your mind, and it is a potential route of passive drug delivery also, through your nasal cavity as well as oral cavity. And the speciality of dhupana is, it is not like other disinfections. It is not only limited to surface disinfection. It is there are surface disinfectants that are mentioned in the context of Sutigagara, that is postpartum management. Then many are there disease specific things, like in fevers, Abarajita Thumam is a very famous Dhupa yoga among them. And in fevers, they are used in non-healing ulcers, in psychiatric conditions, in what you got in baby care. All cases we use Dhupana. So it has a multi-dimensional effect. Apart from disinfection, it has therapeutic utility also. Then, in concising the Ayurvedic treatments, Ayurveda, be it anything, be it an infectious disease like COVID, be it an NCD like it, there are only two lines of treatments. That is, one is the Langhana, that is a depleting therapy. Then the second one is Brahmana therapy. And this Langhana therapy, you do it in two different ways. If the degree of vitiation, dosha vitiation, is very high and the patient is strong enough, then you go for the purificatory therapies like Panchakarma. That is the purificatory therapies, these are, that aims at clearing the channels of circulation so that your channels are clean and the metabolism is regularized. And otherwise, if there is a minor levels of thing, we go for other techniques like Pachanam, Deepanam, that using digestive stimulants and all. And this in this you can see this thread, should, thread, etc., etc., and that all are somewhat similar to the principle of autophagy. Then winding it up, there are 4 simple strategy. Only in 4 different ways it is managed. That is, if there is any depletion in something, you nourish it. If there is a normalcy or health, you maintain it. If there is excess of something, like excess accumulation of something, you expel that out. And if there is a vitiation of that, you pacify it. These are the 4 things that principally followed in Ayurveda, and these are similar to the principles of nature also. Then coming to side effect, most of us during using Ayurveda drugs come up with this particular question, and the answer of this I would like to put it like this: if you use it properly, if you use it in the proper dose, if you use it in the proper time, there is no side effect. But thinking that it is good, thinking that it is good for your health, then there is side effect. For example, the use of spices. If I told that spices is good for you in COVID-like situation, it's not like that you take the spice only, then it can lead to other complications like acid peptic diseases, constipation, anorectal diseases like hemorrhoids and all. That are possible things that can happen due to overuse. So if you use it in a regular dose at a regular time in a prescribed manner, there is no side effect. Otherwise, there is. Then, before I conclude, I would like to take you to a bigger single reason for every disease, be it pandemic, be it NCDs, whatever it may be. That is not the mask, it's the way or your attitude. That is, you know, this is the right way to do it, but you do something like this. Some due to beauty consciousness, you do like fashionable mask. Sometimes you do like this also. It's the attitude, that is, you know how to do it, you don't do it in the proper way. That is, in Ayurveda, you call it as Pragma, that is willful transgression. Knowingly, you commit the crime. You know this is right, but still you do this. You know practicing dinacharya is good for your health. You don't do that. Practicing seasonal regimens is good. You don't do that. Wearing mask is good. You don't do that. And you know that taking preventive measures and making yourself immune is good for your health, but still you wait for somebody to fill your pocket with that immunity. So before concluding it, as a takeaway message, I would like to tell these points. Respect your age and time zones. Respect your urges and body signals, and maintain your gut health. Always keep calm and be active. Be prepared to take care of yourself, your own health, and don't expect any magic bullets to do that for you. And always, please follow the guidelines given by authorities time to time. Thank you and namaste. It's my pleasure meeting you all on this Independence Day, and thank you all for watching. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we're moving on to question sessions now. Dr. Ashwini Kumar wants to know what's the difference between Siddha and Ayurveda?
Siddha and Ayurveda, they are both are Indian systems of medicine, but Siddha system of medicine, basically that's a difference in the systems. That is, we have 3 systems, 3 doshas, Vata, Pitta, and Kapha, and there are certain properties of that. And Siddha system has also these 3 things, but the qualities that they tell is something different from that Ayurveda line. And in Ayurveda, we use mostly herbal preparations, and there is a separate wing called Rasaushadis. And in Siddha, they focus more on these types of rasa preparations and all. And what you get, they have their own pharmacology and pharmacopoeia. So principles are the same, principles of the nature itself, but different schools of thoughts. That's all the difference.
Okay. Baswaraj Lake wants to know during this pandemic, how can we increase the immunity? Like how to increase the immune system and how to concentrate to do, like how to do yoga and meditation?
It's like this is That's what I have been telling this whole session. There is no specific, you have to do this, you have to do that. The basic thing of building up immunity is maintain your gut health, eat healthy, be active, because activity, being active also promotes your immune system. Eating healthy means don't eat the if you think milk is good, don't keep on drinking milk, it can harm you. There should be a balance between all things. If you take the whole thing in a balanced manner and that digests properly, that ultimately leads to health or innate strength. And that strength provides you the immunity against disease. And yoga and all, yoga practice of yoga, meditation and all, the what you acquire is the basic sense of calmness, reduction in oxidative stress, and that in turn builds up your immunity. So it is a multiple domain. You have to follow certain etiquettes of cleanliness, that is prevent the entry, thereby improving the immunity, building up it from inside by boosting your digestive system, and then at the psychological level, be calm, practice things like yoga, then you can use it. You can improve your immunity, which is the key for prevention of against any disease, be it NCD or any infectious diseases.
Yeah, the next question is, Dr. Ashwini wants to know if like we are using nasal oil, right? Should we use that before steam or after steam?
Nasal oil application.
Yeah,
Oil application. There are in Ayurveda there are different modes in which it is used. For health maintenance, we used it. The maximum dose we use is 2 drops. 2 drops, and preferably you take it during the time of administration of nasal oil is not immediately before food, not immediately after food. You select a time in between, whether you have 1.5 hours before that. Then you take the steam inhalation, mild steam inhalation. It depends on the purpose. If you aim at a purpose of expelling the things, that is in a higher dose, the therapeutic thing that I'm speaking, you give after proper sedation. In normal course, you don't need excess of sedation, just mild fermentation, then you can apply that, then you can live. And ideally, soon after doing nasya, you don't take a head bath. That should be avoided.
okay. So Sukanya wants to know, like during oil pulling, if you are doing oil pulling, which oil is best used for COVID resistance?
See, I was not telling about this oil is good for COVID, this oil pulling is good for COVID. Oil pulling is good for your oral health. And that when you are healthy, that's similar to your body. If your body is healthy and immune, then lesser chance of infection. So you use oils, it maintains your health of your oral cavity, increase the strength of your teeth. And the common oil that is used in daily practice is sesame oil. That is the best one. If not, you can use coconut oil also. There are studies that the coconut oil and the sesame oils are good in improving the oral health, like decreasing infections like gingivitis or periodontitis. There are studies available. You can use this based on your availability. If it's in the south, you can. There is no harm. It's something based on your customization also. That is your prakriti also. If you are from south, no harm. Coconut oil is good. If you are from north, ideally you can use sesame oil, and that is told in daily regimen also. Sesame oil is the ideal one.
Yeah, the next question is, can mustard oil be used for oil pulling? Mustard oil, like when the temperature is very low, cold countries and all, can mustard oil be used for oil pulling?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Ideal thing that two advice is, one is sesame, one is coconut oil. Sesame oil is not also problematic provided your climatic conditions is cold. And if you are from a very cold climate and all, sesame oil is good. Even for cooking also you use sesame oil. Sometimes in the north during the winter you prefer that. So that is the ideal thing. depending upon the condition. If you are from a very cold place and the cold time and the climate is also cold, there is no harm in doing with sesame oil, but it is not suitable in other climatic conditions.
Sheetal Ahuja wants to know what is the safest sanitizer that can be used. I mean, when sanitizer is used in excess, it is it is harmful to some extent. So, what are the basic ingredients that we can use in home to make a sanitizer?
Ingredients at home, that is the basic norms, that is basic standard requirements. You can follow the basic advisories of the ministries of health, that more with 70% alcohol minimum you can have. And that I think in Ayurveda there is no concept of sanitizer like that. That is another thing used for sanitizing external cleansing and all. Regarding sanitizer, I will tell only this: follow the advocacies of WHO, follow the advocacies of ministries that they release time to time, and you can get any brand, no issue, provided they follow the standard norms.
Okay. Karam Singh wants to know, can we take ashwagandha and shilajit daily as a tonic for a long period of time?
Yeah. Ashwagandha and shilajit.
Yeah.
As I have told, two things you should remember. Why are you taking that? There are two types of rasayanas. Rasayanas that can be taken on a regular basis. Rasayanas that that can be used specifically for therapies. And ashwagandha, when compared to shilajit, is safer for longer duration usage. And shilajit, I don't advise for long duration usage because it has multiple. You have to take care of so many other things. So comparatively, ashwagandha is safer. Ideally, don't use shilajit unless under the monitoring of a registered practitioner. You cannot use it self.
Okay, so Kanishka is asking, like, after this COVID situation gets over, how to prevent cold and cough, like how to prevent getting cold often or something like that.
It's like there is nothing like after COVID gets over or before COVID gets over. Whenever you get cold and cough, there is only one way to go about it. Maintain your oral hygiene, maintain the hygiene of your nasal cavities, maintain the clarity of your channels. Think that food can be a causative factor. Avoid those foods that can lead to further or aggravate further infections. Keep away from all cold comforts. Use whatever hot things that is possible. Try to make hot water as a habit. You can customize it, as I told before. If you have upper respiratory tract diseases in common, you can put jeera and boil that, or tulsi leaves, etc., etc. You can do in case of respiratory infections. And maintenance and keep away from those things that can lead to your infection. That is the primary thing. Avoid the reasons, then go for all the measures that helps in cleansing your channels. Maintain your GIT system and avoid using all those things that can make you susceptible to for respiratory tract infections.
Arun wants to know, is there any particular rasayana for different ages, like respective ages having respective rasayana?
The use of rasayanas, as per there is nothing called this rasayana can be used for this age and all. But there are some rasayanas, as I told before, that can be used always. And most of the rasayanas are told in the context of certain diseases. So if that particular age group has that particular disease, we usually prescribe that particular thing. For example, if you take a school going child, the what he will or his parents will intend is rasayana for improving his brain tonic. That is major rasayanas. So we advise accordingly. There is different 3-4 major rasayanas are there. Then in a middle age group, then the problem is from with hair, with teeth, with complexions and all. So that changes. So that depends on 2-3 things. And the rasayana, like for example, chavanprasha, if you come, chavanprasha is not suitable for those who have less digestive file because that is a jaggery based formulation. It's a bit heavy for digestion. So it is to be given for those who are having good digestive power. So when you prescribe a Rasayana, you prescribe the formulation keeping in mind of so many other things like your appetite, your health, your strength of your body, your bowel movements and all. This considering the whole thing, we prescribe a Rasayana. There are n number of Rasayanas mentioned in Ayurveda, but ideally for long-term use, you use only after consultation with a practitioner.
So the next question is, what is the herb that is being currently used to treat COVID?
What is the?
What is the herb that is used currently to treat COVID? Herbs.
What is the herbs?
What are the herbs?
There is no. That is a very interesting question. There are no separate as herbs. There are different medicines on which studies are going on, and one of them is Samshaminimati, as you all know. You can search in the Ministry of AYUSH website, it's available. Then AYUSH 64 is one such drug. Then there is medicines that are used in fevers like Sudarshana, Kanvadi. Then there is a AYUSH immunity kit. Trials are also going to be happening based on that. And as such, for your knowledge, I'm saying that when you consider Ayurveda as a line of treatment, you cannot say this is suitable for that. The condition of the patient depends on the condition of the patient demands the medicines. So if you have a COVID patient with symptoms more of cough and fever dominant, then you have a separate set of medicine ideally. Then you have some patients with GIT complaints, you have to add on something. So depending on that, the medicines also will change. That should change ideally. That is the basic principle of Ayurveda. It is not like you have COVID, you take this. There is no magic bullet in Ayurveda. It's a permutation and combinations of certain things that we look for, and based on that permutation combination, you add on things or deduct things. That's how we arrive at a conclusion. So you can't name a particular drug on which the trial is going on. These are the common drugs, as I told, Samshaminimati, AYUSH 64, and AYUSH immunity kit, I think is there. Then other drugs that are commonly used in fevers like Sudarshan Kanvati, and researches is going on based on that. Let's see what happens.
Pradeep Parameshwaran wants to know, what are the Ayurveda researches being done in COVID-19?
Ayurveda researchers.
What are the Ayurveda researches done in COVID-19?
Ayurveda researchers, if you are looking at the Ayurveda researchers, there are 2-3 types of trials going on. One is add-on trials, where patients with COVID-19 patients are admitted and they are given the conventional medicines. Along with that, you give medicines like that you told, Samshaminimati or AYUSH 64. Then that is one stage. Then second thing is as prophylactic study among populations at different peripheral institutes going on. Peripheral institutes of CCRAS among the people of the containment zone and taking the follow-up after 1 month. Then the third thing is among the community level, AYUSH immunity kit that is also going to be implemented among the public and see how far it is effective in prevention. So at 3 levels it's going on. One as an add-on. Then in some centers it's going on as a standalone therapies also. As a prophylactic thing, it's going around in containment zones, and in as a prophylaxis among general population, the another projects are also going on. So the results are not yet out. It's in the interim phase. The results will be out soon in probably 2-3 months.
Okay. Soruba Kumari has asked, suggest a good treatment for COVID-19.
Good treatment for?
Suggest a good treatment for COVID-19.
Okay. Sorry, I can't answer this question right away because in a webinar like this, I'm not a person to state this is good for COVID and all. But one thing I can tell you, you focus on your health, you focus on your immunity, you focus to improve your health. That will help you preventing COVID. And regarding treatment of COVID, I would tell this is just like other infective fevers. You manage in the same line, you will get the result, provided you are healthy. If you have any comorbidities and all, you have to address those issues also. Like that, you can treatment. You can advise the treatment. And again, I am repeating one thing. In Ayurveda, there is no single bullet treatments. It's all personalized. It depends on your demand, what's your body demands and your condition demands.
Okay. The next question is Ayush Kashaya. Like we have Ayush Kashaya, right? Like how many times to take that during pandemic situation?
Ayush actually, it's advised by Ministry of Ayush and it's been marketed by different companies, and it's available in two forms. One is a tablet form and one is powder form to be made into a decoction. And in that, it is advised that you should take it twice. And tablets also two tablets twice daily, and in decoction also there is a measurement they have given. Ideally, you should take it twice. The basic thing is it's not take it in your mind that it's not against COVID and all. It's for it's for your immunity boosting. It will help you to prevent infections. Like the major ingredients are spices only: tulsi, dalchini, Krishna and ginger. These four things are there. So they are ultimately coming under the spice groups. That will help you in maintaining your gut health, help you in maintaining your respiratory health, thereby reducing your chances of getting infection.
Dr. Rage is requesting you to explain more about gut-lung axis.
Gut-lung axis. Okay. Gut-lung axis, there are two ways I can explain it. One is as in the modern purview, you take something, it gets digested in the abdomen, then it is taken up into the circulation and it is go to the main circulation via the heart. So whatever happens in the digestive system, the post-digestive phase or the post-digestive circulate you call, it will be there in the circulation and distributed throughout your body. That is the basic physiology. And in Ayurveda, there is a concept, there is channels of circulation called Annavaha Srotas and Pranavaha Srotas and Rasavaha Srotas also. These three concepts you have to take in mind. That is, Rasavaha Srotas deals with the post-digestive circulatory phase, and the Pranavaha Srotas deals with the respiratory system. So, when the post-digestive metabolite goes to the circulation, it reaches your heart. From there, it gets disseminated to other part. Suppose if it is indigested or it has digestive metabolite, undigested metabolite, in Ayurveda we call it as ama. It gets circulated throughout your body and this gets lodged in different parts of the body and can be a possible factor for other diseases also. So here you should keep in mind that when your gut gets disturbed, there is something bad happening with your gut. It directly goes to the circulation, and one of the organ that is nearer to the heart is lungs. The primary, it reaches there. So once you have a bad gut microbiome, bad status of your gut microbiome, or there is a continuous exchange or interface between these two things. So once you have a bad gut, you can have a bad lung also, and vice versa also. You can have a as they are related, you can have a lung infection that can precipitate to further GI complications also. That's happening in this COVID situations also. Earlier in the symptoms we had fever, cough and dyspnea was a symptom, and later on they added GI symptoms also. And in Ayurveda, most of the in Ayurveda, when we explain the pathogenesis of cough, dyspnea, etc., it has its origin. It is said that it has its origin from stomach or amasya. So that is the relation. Something happens with your stomach, it can upset your respiratory system also, and in the other hand also. So you have to maintain your gut microbiome. That is the key for your immunity as well as protection.
Okay. Malik is asking what type of immune boosters can be used for diabetes patients?
What type of?
What type of immune booster can be used for diabetes?
What booster? I'm not getting.
He has asked what type of immune booster, AMION booster can be used for diabetes patients.
Maybe he was telling about immune booster.
Immune. Okay, the spelling that he had written is AMION.
Okay, fine.
So
Maybe
as preventive
I'm answering it like this. In diabetic patients, you all know it's one of the risk factors of COVID. So, and it will be the risk factors of any disease to come. And you restrict your range of medication. You restrict your range of medications in diabetic patients also. So, diabetic care is of utmost importance. In Ayurveda, for improving immunity, primary thing I focus on those two things itself. Your GI tract, GI health, you should focus on that. Normally the diabetic patient don't have a healthy digestive system. Though most of them are associated with constipation and all. So you should be having a good digestive system, a good evacuation of your bowel movements. So you have to aim your treatment in that. Then there are immune rasayanas like Shilajit. That is, some of the audience asked it previously. Shilajit is one of the potent rasayanas, but you should use only after consultation with the registered practitioner. And there are drugs like Guduchi, that is Amrit or Tinospora cardifolia. This is that can be used in diabetes patients also. And there are many drugs in Ayurveda that focus on your GI tract health as well as maintain your diabetes level, that can be used for longer durations also.
So Dr. Raghi wants to know a little more about intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting, like just more information about intermittent fasting.
Okay. Intermittent fasting, I tell, when I demonstrated my slides, I told two concepts. That is Lanthana, that is used for managing diseases mainly due to over nutrition, or maybe take it as NCD. In that condition, what happens is our GI tract is not able to metabolize things properly, and that it goes into the circulation in the form of a undigested metabolite, and that act as a pro-inflammatory response stimulator, you can call it. It just triggers many inflammatory mechanisms inside our body. So to prevent that, Ayurveda advises treatments like Langhana, that is called fasting, or and in religious terms it can be termed as Upavasa. That is, we advise fasting in between till you get a hunger. That is called intermittent fasting. In Ayurveda, there is a concept that your digestive fire first digests your food. In the absence of food, it digests your doshas, that is the unwanted things. So for a particular period of time, you should keep your stomach empty from outside. You should not give anything inside. Give your body time to absorb things properly, to digest things properly, and take away the unwanted things. That is the concept of intermittent fasting, and this is somewhat similar to the theory of autophagy, which won Nobel Prize in 2016 for physiology or medicine. That is quite similar to that, and for that, Ayurveda uses different techniques like Deepana drugs, that is digestive stimulants in between we can give, and there is a thing called Peyadikrama, that is systematic dietic pattern for increasing your digestive fire in case you have a bad one. Where you start from a starch-based diet, then goes to a protein-based diet, like that. There's a systematic way of doing that. Like that, you give your body your time, you give your acne the suitable time to burn up, so that your channels are clear, your undigested metabolites are digested properly.
We are moving to the last question. As corona is said to be all around, why is this immortal Ayurvedic treatment not being used? Ayurvedic treatment is considered to be immortal. Why is that not used when this corona situation has happened?
Okay. It's not that Ayurveda is not used for the corona treatment. Ayurveda has been is being used in different states. That depends upon the state policies also, because many in states like Delhi, Maharashtra, and Tamil Nadu and all, Indian systems of medicine like Ayurveda, Siddha, and all, they are being used in different levels for managing COVID. But why it is not used, it's up to the policies of the different states and state governments. It's up to the authorities to take a decision upon that. I'm not the right person to comment on that, but still hope that at some time it will come up for the protection and in the treatment strategies of COVID also.
Okay, so we have come to an end to this session. I request the participants to kindly fill in the feedback form, which will be available till 12 o'clock. I thank Dr. Krishna Rao for giving us an amazing and informative webinar. I would like to thank Dr. Shamini for making this session possible, and Dr. Sudhakaran, GM of Golden Jubilee Biotech Park for Women Society, for his support. I thank our mentor, Dr. Ganesh Kumar Mani, for being extremely supportive of each and every session conducted by Organogenic. A big thanks to all the participants and hoping your presence in the upcoming sessions too. I would like to use this opportunity on this amazing day of independence to thank our respected soldiers who are the true heroes working to protect us amidst difficult situations. Thank you all. Jai Hind.
Thank you so much for giving me the stage. Thank you once again, and wish you a very, very happy Independence Day, all of you. Stay healthy, stay safe. Thank you.